So I'm going to take you through what we did yesterday, and then that will now form the basics of what we are going to do today. So quickly, let's go back to what we did yesterday. So this, in case if you don't know about it, fine, you can do a simple Google search on it and you can write some stuff. And another thing that some of you complained, they were like, sir, you are so fast. I'm really sorry about that, but I believe if you go back here, in case if you are new, okay, so if you go back here and let's say you want to play this, okay, because people were like, okay, sir, we don't know what you are doing actually. You are so fast. I get that, but let's go to the playlist. Okay, now we are on the playlist. Please listen, guys. Please listen. So let's say I go to this 50 days of challenge, okay? And I'm going to mute this for now so that I will not distract you guys. So what I will do, this option is there, yes? Option barote, go to speed control, right? This playback. Instead of normal, by default it's at normal. Yes or no, guys? Go back and reduce it. You can put it at 50%. Then you see I'll be kind of like super slow. Yes, guys? Or you can start with 75% speed. It's no longer 100%, okay? So I want to point this out. Maybe if you don't know that this exists, okay? Thank you, guys. So let's continue. Fine. Yes, this is done, and today is day 13. So let's start. All right. Of 15. So what are we going to look into? We are going to look into mostly what? Functions. Okay, and then lambda expressions. All right, so I believe my writing is improving. I'm really sorry if it refuses to improve. I'm trying my best. Okay, so let's start. So one of the things we know, if somebody asks you now, somebody walks in and say, okay, you have been learning Python all this while. Okay, what is a function? What is a function? Somebody asks you, sir, we have not learned C, we have not learned C++. Simply, why are you asking me what a function is? Very simple. What is a function, guys? We Googled that yesterday. Please don't forget. It's just a piece of code, right? So in this piece of code, you say it's a block of code. They say block of code. Okay? That runs only when you call it. That executes when you call it. When it's being called. It's being called. Fine. Okay. That means there are two aspects to function. That means there are two aspects. Okay, so that means function creation and function call. It's not called like that, it's called function definition and function call. But yeah, so we define function definition, and the next one is called what? Function calling. Function call. Now, how do you define a function? Use of keyword def. It's not deaf and dumb, okay? Def. This keyword we use. Fine? Option barote. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to learn Canada, okay? Sorry if you are not from Canada. You know me, Nama, my soul. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm just kidding, okay? Option barote. Yes, thank you. So yeah, we have this use of def keyword, and then when you call it, you have to call with the function name. Call with function name. So we create a simple one now, function name. So let's take an example. So let's create a function that says hello. Simple. We have written hello world program. Okay. So we create a function that says hello. Create a function that says hello. So what do we do? Two steps. One do, zero do. Step one do, def. What's the function name? Say hello. Say underscore hello. Now, it's a function, right? Yes or no? So it will come like a method only, right? Function like this, it will come like a method. So now, we have seen this. We have to indent it. So next we will say what now? Print hello world. That's it, right? Fine. Print. In bracket, I want it to print something. I'll say hello. Hello, my Suru. Okay? Fine. Okay. This is done. Now, sorry, I want to put semicolon. That's not Java. But you see, even if you put semicolon also, it will be printed. But don't confuse semicolon with colon. Okay? So if you miss out this guy, error tumba justi. Okay? All right. So you will get some error message. Fine? Now, This is done, but it will not do anything, right? So step 1 over. Step 1 done. So what do we do in step 2? So step 2, we now have to call it using what? Say hello. Now, this is not taking any arguments. Don't worry. Say hello. Okay? So we call this. So this is step 2. Step 2. Fine? Done. All right. So we have ended up creating a function and calling this function. All right? So let's talk about arguments now. Okay. So what are arguments? Question 2. What are arguments? Okay, in Nigeria, we will say you used to argue too much. Can you keep quiet? You know. So what are arguments? When people used to argue. All right. So arguments are actually what you pass into the function. Yes or no? So they can also be called something. We see that. So we say they are what now? Whatever we pass into the function. Because we can pass number, we can pass string, we can even pass list, we can pass anything. Whatever we pass into a function is known as an argument. Pass into a function, aka argument. Argument is known as argument. Fine. Now, so these arguments obviously will be inside parentheses. Example, we will see that now. Okay. Now, let's say example with the same hello we are looking at actually. We say def, say hello. We are still saying hello. Fine. Now, we're going to pass an argument here. So let's say I want to say, this will say hello Amar. Okay. So Amar will be your first name. We have passed it as an argument. Okay. So this is the argument. So this guy is the argument. Now, I use arguments because what are arguments? So you can take one. Please listen. We passed one. So the question is, how many arguments can be passed? Okay. I want to see how many arguments can be passed based on what. Can you just predict? Can we pass 1, 2? Now, we have seen initially with nil, none. Okay. Now, next with 1. This is with 1. So, can we pass how many arguments, guys? Anybody? With 1? I'm just looking at it. I will continue the class while I wait for your responses. Okay. So, this is what we'll have, and don't forget your colon. Fine. Now, once this is done, now I want to say, okay, print. You can do 2 things here. Okay. So, you can say print hello, this guy. Hello plus what? F name. Yes or no? And the order doesn't matter actually. Okay. The order doesn't matter. So we have finished creating this function. We have defined this function. Now we now go to call it. We say underscore hello. Now say underscore hello is going to say hello somebody. Now if I depends on the return value. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Amma, thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, we'll come to that. But so far you can pass n number of what? N number of arguments. Okay, so we can pass 2, 3, yes. Okay, it depends on the return value. Absolutely brilliant. So what we do now is, okay, so here we say, hello. I need to say hello somebody. Okay, so I'll say hello Amar. So I'm going to take Amar now. Okay, as an argument. So what happens if I don't put this? It will say this function requires 1, but none given. Say example, if I call it like this and there is no default argument, we will try this. Hello. Okay, so let's see whether this is going to give us an error or not. Okay, so this will go fine, and this will give an error. Let's see whether it gives an error or not. Now, let's answer this question and then we start coding up things. Okay, so the question is, the next question is what? Question 3. Are they called arguments or parameters? Are they called arguments or parameters? What did we call it before now? Arguments, right? Go up. What are arguments? So what if somebody asks you what are parameters? So this now will now translate to what? What are parameters then? Are they the same thing or are they different? So now the question here is, you see me, I know if you've noticed, you see at times I use methods and functions interchangeably. Do you remember that? I mean, I use most of them interchangeably, okay? And functions. Because example, most functions are defined like method only. You can see this, say hello, right? So mostly functions are majorly of user-defined type. Okay, there are inbuilt functions because print is also inbuilt. Don't worry. You will say, sir, why are you confusing us? Print is also inbuilt function, yes or no? But majority of the functions we use, see, because you can run an application with only print statements, yes or no? But in that, you have a number of user-defined functions. So most times I want to separate function from methods by using methods to refer to inbuilt methods, okay? And then using function to refer to user-defined function. But both can be used interchangeably, okay? And it depends on the context of what you are saying. So here, parameters are also known as what? Arguments, okay? So they are the same. They are same. What's the difference? They are used interchangeably. That's it. They are same. Just that we interchange them. Just that we use both interchangeably. That's it. Okay? Fine. All right, so now you got the concept. So you now say, okay, fine, we have answered this question. Yes, so this one took only one argument. Yes or no? One parameter. So can we rewrite this so that it takes Amar Magi? Okay, so let's say Amar Magi. So it's going to take both your first name and your last name. I will say Amar Magi, like that. Okay, in between, I will now say, okay, you are my friend, something like that. So let's see another example. So this is function with what? Two arguments. Function with two arguments. Function with two Yerudo arguments. Fine. So Yerudo argument barate one two arguments hogi error bantu. Okay, don't kill me. Okay, I'm trying to learn Canada. Okay, so if you say you are going to give two arguments, you have defined a function with two arguments. Stop talking and let's do this quickly. So we define a function, okay? So this function is still going to say hello, but in this function, we are going to give two arguments, okay? So function say hello, I'll say underscore hello, all right? So this is going to take first name and taking again last name, fine? Now, in this case, okay, I'm going to print here your first name plus last name, no doubt, right? I'm not saying hello. You can actually say hello, anything, okay, plus F name. You got that? Now, we want to separate it. You can print empty space, right? Plus L name, fine. Now, this is done. We now have to call this function, okay? We now say hello. Now, when we say hello, we are going to pass Amar, okay, Maggie, fine. Now, this is what we have passed, okay? What happens when we just say only Amar? It will say function expects two arguments, one given. You got the point? So I think on this note, we should actually start running some stuff, okay? Let's start executing some of the program. So I'll copy some stuff now and let's start, okay? So far, you're able to follow, guys? Okay. Do you have any questions? All right, so let's proceed. I want to use Tony, so I'll keep Tony there. Then I want to use this guy. I'll keep it there, okay? So first thing, functions creating and calling is done. Function arguments versus parameter is done. We have not looked into arbitrary functions, okay? So let's run some stuff and then we go again and look at arbitrary function and what this pass method does and the rest, okay? Fine. Now, we said something. We are actually going to give them, we're going to start with this guy. Okay, sorry guys, let me look at the screen. Actually, it just stopped moving. Yes, it's working now. Okay, so we're going to do something here. Okay, so I'm going to call this, let's create one now. Def, I call it, say hello, S-A-Y, that's called hello, H-E-L-L-O. Okay, so this is what we have done, fine. And this took nothing, right? So we just say print, P-R-I-N-T. So I will just say what? What did I call it? Hello, whatever. Hello world. Okay. Hello, Africa. Something like that. Hello, why only Africa? Hello, Mysuru. Okay. So you can say like that. Okay, Mysuru. All right, no problem. Now this is done. Fine. Now what I will do, I now need to, please look at the indentation. So I now need to call this, right? I will just say S-A-Y. Okay, before you call, please let's print this. Okay, so if I press, I think F5 will print this. Okay, so it's telling me to save it. I'll go back here on the desktop. I'll call this. So I'll call this, maybe say the 11. sorry, day 13. Okay, underscore Tony, Thonny. Fine, it's a Python file. Now you see here, guys, please look at the compiler here. Okay, look at the console. Please listen. Look at the console here. Day 13 Tony.py is running. Yes or no? And look at the directory cd. Immediately it's called this cd, okay, with a global function percentage cd to C users, Victor, desktop, whatever. Inside there, run this Tony.py. Fine. So this is done. Now let's see. Because please listen, the function is there. It's sitting idle. We have not called it, so we can actually call it here by typing say underscore hello, hello. Fine. Done. Enter. So you now see here hello my soul. Yes or no? Fine. Otherwise, you can actually do here now. We say underscore hello. Fine. So this approach is better, right? So this is done. Now I will run here, or I'll just press F5, and that's again gets printed. No problem. Fine. So the first one is done, and then what we did in the second one is I will now copy paste since you got the concept, right? So I will now copy paste this. Okay. So I want to say somebody is my friend. So what I will do, new tab there, fine, I'll paste this. Fine. So function, I'm taking first name as an argument. Yes. Fine. So I will now say first name is my friend. Yes. So let me take names now. So I need to say my underscore func, func. Okay, so I will take first person. Okay, always use this to separate it, the code blocks, right? So we know, okay, fine, this is what we are doing there, and this is that. So I'm going to take first person. Who was the first that joined this class? Samath is my friend. Let's say M-A-R-T-H. Samath, is my friend. Now I can call it. The question is, how many times can I call this function? Anybody? How many times can I call this function? Let me run this once. F5. Okay, so I will see. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. Yes, every time I have to save this. Yeah. Okay, so since this is going to take going to prompt me to be doing this, I'll comment it out from here only. So I might as well go back to the previous one. You got the point now, guys? This is fine, but that's not what I wanted actually. Okay, let me just say 2, 3 like that. 2. You got the point, guys. I don't want to be doing this. Samath is my friend. Okay, so I called it once. So how many times can I call this, guys? So I can call it a number of times. So Control C. Now I'm going to paste Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. All right. So Samath is my friend. Anjali is my friend. Then Amar is my friend. Then Anjali is my friend. So Anjali is my friend. And then Diksha is my friend. Okay. Diksha, I'm not sure if she's here, but Diksha is my friend. And then, okay. Niharika is my friend. Okay, I'll just say Niharika is my friend. Okay, so literally you can call everybody your friend. Okay, no problem. So you see here, Samath is my friend, Ahmad is my friend, Anjali is my friend, Diksha is my friend, Niharika is my friend. Done? Fine. So you can actually print like this, say hello. So like the order doesn't matter. So this is there. What I will do now, I'll try to comment this guy out. I'll take this, I'll copy here. So I don't want to keep resaving, right? Paste it here. Now I'm going to comment this out. So the concept of what do you call it now? Multi-line comments also still works here. So I'm going to close it here. Fine. So this is again, okay. So I'll call it, let's say, okay, say or hello, anything. But I'll use this for now. So I want to say welcome this fellow. Okay, welcome first name. So I will now say welcome. Okay. And then space that. Then I'll say plus. Okay. Oh, sorry, plus first name. Then I don't need to say, okay, welcome, this is my friend. Okay, you can actually print this, but the essence of what I want to do now is just to show you that you can, order doesn't matter. Okay, fine. So I will now just run this. You now see, welcome Samath, my friend. So instead of saying this, my friend, you can say, welcome Samath, my friend. Welcome this, my friend. Okay, you got the concept. Fine. Okay, this is done. Let's look at one more thing. So I'm going to close this here. Fine. Now, next thing is this. Since we said, okay, the functions can also be called as parameters, right? Sorry, please, parameters can be called as arguments, okay? And now we now say, okay, let's use this to print, excuse me, first name and last name. So we now come here. So this is where we are. And the first name is, then if I'm using only this actually, yeah, don't worry. I want to show both of them together. So as I'm using this actually now, you know, I have said this, okay, I'm going to take first name and last name. So I will take Akash is the first name and Mahesh is the last name. Fine. Now I'm going to run this now. So you see Akash Mahesh gets printed in the console. Yes. So if it gets printed in the console, now what we do here, okay? Since we did this now, let's call this without arguments. So I'll say my underscore func, func, 2, okay, without any argument, any parameter, fine. Now, we are going to call it again my func, func, okay, 2, with only one parameter. Say, I'll just say Anjali, fine. Okay, sorry, I'm not taking your name just like that, okay? I'm just trying to, whatever comes to my mind, I will just take, okay? Fine. So this is it, and then I'll just print this. Now you see here, guys, error barote. Now maximize this, now you see here, okay? And this is the beauty part why I like this, this turning, okay? Please look here. Trace back, it printed Mahesh, no doubt. So the first function was executed, the function call was executed. Now the second one says, look here, my func, okay, type error, missing 2 required positional arguments. See, it's even telling you the type also. First name and what? Last name. I called it without anything. Now, because of this, we are going to look into exception handling later, such that if it gets this error, it should not break out. See, the first one printed, right? Then it encountered this error. Whatever that is coming beneath it will never be printed again. So instead of us to do this, what we can do actually, we know that this is going to give us an error, the second one, this guy. So what we can actually do is try to handle exception, okay? We will come to that, or error, such that Anjali also we're going to give us an error, okay? But the program should not throw this. It should not give this error, no problem. In line this on this, and reliability part is telling you line 25. So when they call this on line 25, fine. Now look here. Python was asked to do an operation with an object which doesn't support it. Can you see that? Did you expect another type? Now you can click on this, expand this. Step through your program to see why this type happens. Maybe you forgot some details about this operation. Look up the documentation or perform a web search. Can you see? So this is the thing I like about this guy. So it says here, was this useful or whatever? Okay, if you need more help on this, you can actually see, it's not telling you my func too, sorry. Oh, sorry, please, sorry, that was actually my mistake. My func, my underscore func, right, too. I said my func. That's why maybe this one, the error did not come. So let's run this again. I want that also to come. Yes. So you can see here, okay? So this also, please look here, requires 2. So from here only, it's breaking out. From line 25, it's breaking out. Okay, but remember that one showed us that was not defined. But now that error is gone. So this will help you actually, okay? So what you can do is you can actually Google this. Missing 2 positional arguments, required 1. Why don't I show you this? Let's go now. I know what you know what it is, but let's look at how we search for something as developers. So now we come here and we say, okay, fine. This was what came. Please listen. Now, somehow somebody must have experienced this. Somebody must have experienced it, and that's why it went straight to Stack Overflow. Please look here. Function missing 2 required position arguments, X and Y. Let's open this and see. Now, it says here, forget this guy. Okay, he's doing some total thing, graphics with that. But here, he has taken, he says enter this. So he has taken how many arguments? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When he called it, he called with 1, 2, 3. Did you see that, guys? Look here, spirograph. Maybe he wants to draw something. He has taken how many arguments, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here he has actually called with 1, 2, 3. So now let's look at what they said actually. See, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see that? Now, but you are passing 3 arguments. Exactly. This, okay, since this does not match the function, is raising an error. You got the point? So I have actually introduced you to the concept of how you get help from this. Unless you put them as default value, then only it will work. But since you didn't put it at default value, you have to specify all the arguments, all the parameters. Fine. Now we got this to say, okay, let me go back to my code and see what is happening. Okay, that is true. So let me now add, let's say, Ananya, okay, Prakash, anything, Prakash, okay. Then I will go back and now say, Anjali. Remember, you have to say comma, otherwise it will see it as one string. So I'll say Anjali Hemant, okay. So Anjali Hemant, H-E-M-A-T-H, fine. So this is fine. Now there won't be any error, okay. So you press this now. So you see here, Akash Mahesh, Ananya Prakash, Anjali Hemant, okay. So you can actually close this assistant, fine. Okay, so you can zoom this actually. So I'm trying to zoom this. Sorry guys, I kept stressing you guys out. So I have zoomed this, okay. So this is fine. Now I keep it back to the left. Fine. All right. So we can see here, this was what I was trying to explain. Okay. So this is fine. Zoom it once again, control, yeah, fine, okay. So this is fine. So now we are done with this, okay. So we need to look into something else, okay. So what is it called now? Arbitrary arguments. So let's write something quickly, and then we get back to what arbitrary arguments are. All right, so now we are done. Let's look at something now. So what do you mean by arbitrary? So can you try to tell me what the literal meaning is? Arbitrary. Arbitrary is, can we say, is abstract or something that doesn't have a tangible value? Okay, arbitrary arguments, but that's not what it meant in the context of this, okay? Before we talk about arbitrary arguments, do you remember your main method in Java? Public. Okay, let's write some simple hello world program in Java, shall we? Okay, so you say public class, say hello. Okay, open this brace. Now inside here we say public static void main. Then this is main method, the entry point. So you say capital string string. Then you do like this, right? You say args, right? So the question is, many of you, may not even know that this args you can actually rename it to anything like Vic or whatever. Then this is, we are open that. Then we now say system.out.println, system.out.something.println. Okay. Now we say welcome, say hello, anything, say hello. This is a string. Now we close this, then we close this guy, and then we close the final brace. Yes or no? Now, what are these arguments actually? What are they? Okay. So in this case now, usually you see args. That was why I took this. So we now say asterisk args by default. Don't worry. One asterisk, and then we compare it versus when we use two asterisks. Asterisk. Okay. I'm pronouncing it like an African. Don't mind me. Okay. So now, why do we need this actually? Why do we need arbitrary arguments? So that is also the next question. Why? Why arbitrary? Why do we need them? Why do we need those? Which ones? The one above. Fine. So close this guy. So you see, there will be a time in which you don't know, how many arguments that will be passed into your function. You have seen the previous examples, right? Like here we had 2, first name and last name. The other one we had 1, and the other one we never had anything, right? Fine. So if you don't know how many arguments that will be passed into it, yes, okay, Samat, yes, arbitrary means calling a function. Okay, yeah, maybe, but I'm not sure actually. I'm saying about arbitrary arguments, okay? So arbitrary is like abstract actually. Can we look it up in the dictionary? What do you mean by arbitrary actually? Arbitrary, arbitrary. I don't know how to pronounce it, guys. So let's look it up quickly. So arbitrary is based on random choice of personal whim, okay? Or that means like chance, erratic, unpredictable. So in this case, in the context of whatever we are doing, we are talking about unpredictable, okay? We don't know how many, how many parameters we have to pass at runtime. So that's why we use these arbitrary arguments, okay? So this is what I expected to see. Now, so we don't know, right? So let's say example, we want to, I think I have it here, okay? So let's say I want to say my favorite food, okay, as a function. So I will say, okay, let me use something now. I will say def. I want you to select my favorite food, right? My favorite food can be from a list of foods, yes or no? So by the way, my favorite food is biryani, fine. Also, I like veg fried rice, okay, or I like Chinese, or Szechuan, I don't know, okay, fine. So if you look at it this way, there will be options, yes or no. So I will say def my favorite food, okay, my favorite food. Now, here I'm going to open this now. Please look here. Will it be 1, 2, 3 from that, 3 in that, maybe I'm going to pass 3 options. In that, I have to choose 1, okay? I want to choose, amongst the group. So I'll just say here, okay? Now, it mustn't be args. That was why I tried relating it to this Java thing. It mustn't be args, A-R-G-S. So it can be any other keyword. It mustn't be this args. So you can now call it food, star food. Excuse me. So we have called it star food, okay? Now, I will now say colon, print my favorite food is my favorite cuisine, okay? My favorite meal, fine. Favorite meal is fine. Whatever we call it, say plus. Now look here, guys. So this is food. Now, initially, if you've studied C, you might be thinking it's a pointer because you have star. Yes, so we are not, this is actually not a pointer. Okay, now we now go back here, we say food of a list. Now I don't know which list, but I want the one at the third position, okay, to be my favorite food. Fine. That means that this, I have defined this. I now need to call this function and pass n number of items there. So I'll now go back here. Now I'll say my fav food. Now in this, I'm going to pass a very long list. One is biryani. Now two is veg fried rice. Okay. Three is maybe like chicken momos. Chicken momos. Okay, now he's going to tell me chicken momos. Maybe four is like maybe Szechuan rice. I don't know. Okay, it's called, I hope it's called Szechuan rice, something like that. Okay, so this is what we have seen. Now we're going to look at the example now. So after this, now you see we can actually use that. Okay, but another thing that interests us is there are times we use what we call keyword arguments. See, arbitrary arguments, you got the concept, you got why we use that. Fine. Now let's look at keyword arguments actually. So what are keyword arguments then? So another question. So we look at first thing now, we call them keyword arguments. And then we see in this actually, what do you mean by keyword arguments? They look like a dictionary, but we'll come to this. Keyword, looking like word lists. Okay, not word list anyway, they are entirely different. Keyword translates to something like key with meaning. That means key with value. Okay, similar to dictionary. We are not sure. Let's see. Now, if they are called keyword arguments, so what are they? Why do we need those? Fine. Reserved words. Yes, my Jayashri. Yes, keywords are reserved words, no doubt. But please, in the context of arguments, it's not reserved. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. So you will see it now, and we give an example. Okay. So here, first one, we now say, okay, fine. Let's go back to our what do you call it? The same food thing, no? So the same food list, I called it def. Yeah. I'm going to use my FF now, my favorite food. You got the point? Fine. Now look here, I have F1, I have F2, I have F3. Remember I passed 4 of them, F4. Yes or no? So look here, 1, 2, 3, 4. How is it different from arbitrary arguments? In arbitrary arguments, we don't know how many, right, to pass at when we call the function, when the function is called. So we are going to say, okay, pass n number of stuff, and we're going to return only the third one, the third index. I mean, please, in this case, we're not talking of index now. We are talking of the third value actually. Okay, it's the value. So it's going to come to chicken momos. You will see that now. Now, and in this case, they are called keyword arguments, meaning you will see how we are going to supply the keys with the respective value or what it means. Fine. So we have created for whatever now, F1, F2, F3, F4, and you see they are not reserved words. Okay. Now here we are going to say, okay, print. It's okay. My favorite. Say my favorite meal is I don't know what it is, plus. Now please look here. I use 3, right? Let's use the same 3 again. F3. Okay. Now I close this. Now I'm going to call my favorite meal, my FF. Fine. Now look here now. This is where the key value pair comes in. Okay. So F1, we now say it is what? Same thing. F1 is biryani, 2 is veg fried rice. F1 is biryani. Okay. Now F2 is what? Veg fried rice. Third one is what? Chicken momos. Okay. Fourth one is Szechuan. Okay, anything. F4 is Szechuan. Okay. So now you got the concept, right? So we have taken these keywords and we have now assigned values to them. Okay, so the only difference, if you look at it here, you see we can actually you can actually rewrite this as, look here, you can prototype it as this: my FF containing what? F1, okay, colon biryani. You got the point? So if this is the case, to use it as a dictionary, you have to rewrite it this way. Say, look here, if I want to take this F1, okay, then colon this, okay. So this will have this value as biryani, no problem, okay? Or if you want F1 only to be like this, you can actually say biryani, okay, will be referenced by using what? F1, such that I make this as a string and make the other one like that. You got the point? And then we continue. Fine. Suddenly 35 people are there, all attendance seekers. Keep deceiving yourselves. So now we have seen this one, okay, arbitrary arguments. We have seen keyword arguments. There also be what we call arbitrary keyword arguments. Now look here. Arbitrary arguments barote, keyword argument barote. Next, arbitrary keyword arguments. So we'll see that and then we go back to our demo session. So arbitrary keyword argument. So how is it different from keyword arguments? You're going to see that now. In keyword arguments, we had only what? Sorry, in arbitrary arguments, you have only 1 star, right? But in arbitrary keyword arguments, you're going to have what? 2 stars. So 2-star general. So, and you see by default, you see something like this, keyword arguments, quags. I don't know if you've seen this, keyword arguments, quags, okay? But the other one you see, they are called what? Arbitrary arguments, args, arbitrary. They should have been double A, but yeah, they use that arbitrary arguments. So this one called keyword arguments, quags. So I don't know, I'm just thinking, but anyway, I think that is also why this is. So now if you don't know how many keyword arguments, right, that we pass into the function, you add to asterisks, yes or no? Fine. So example, we go back to our stuff again, okay? So we go back to our stuff. So we now say, for example, for e.g., in the same food thing which we are doing. So we have our def ff favorite food, okay? Now we now say star food, no doubt, okay? Now, so we now say print, same thing, my favorite meal is something I don't know, right? Now, please listen. I'll now say plus, look here. I'll say food of. Now, look here, guys. Food of which one? The keyword, F1 or F2 or F3. So let's say I want to refer now Shes1. I'll say food of what? F4. No, not even a string anymore, okay? It's no longer a string. Now, in this case, now I will now call it def ff, like that. Now, I'm going to say, you got the point? F1, same thing, equal blah, blah, blah. F2 equal blah, blah, blah. F3 equal blah, blah, blah. And F4 equal blah, blah, blah. You got the point, guys? So, on this note, let's look into some demonstration. All right, I believe if you have any doubts, guys, can you just post your doubts? I will look at it and then we continue. Okay, maybe when we execute it, you might get a clearer picture. Okay, let's go back to Tony and then open this side by side. Okay, so usually this was what we have been doing previously. So we thought today let's look into Tony. Okay, so I'm going to close this shell and let me start afresh. I think fine. So till here is fine. I'm going to remove this now, comment this out, fine, and then get back here. Done. Now, okay. So this is fine. We have done till here. So arbitrary arguments now we are going to use. Okay. So till here. Control C. Now come back here. Control V. Okay. So my favorite dish, fine, no doubt. Arbitrary arguments, fine. Now my favorite dish is food of this. So masala puri is out. Biryani is my favorite in this case, and then idli. Fine. So let's run this. So you see here, my favorite dish is biryani. No problem, no? Fine. So my favorite dish is biryani. Done. Next, what you want to do is let's use now what they are called what keyword arguments. We've seen arbitrary arguments. Let's look at keyword arguments. Okay, so I said similar to using your key value pair, no problem. So copy this now, fine. Come back here, paste this guy, fine. Okay, let's see this. Okay, so you've seen this. I'll zoom it out a bit, fine. So this is what we have, fine. My favorite dish. Now look here, the order doesn't matter. Okay, the order doesn't matter, right? So I can actually post it like this. See here, F3, F2, F1. This is how I define the keywords. But here I'm now going to call it like this, F1, F2, F3. So what do you think will it print? Oh, sorry, I don't want F2 because in either case, F2 is at the center. Guys, are you getting my point? In either case, F2 is at the center. Let me call F3. Okay, let me assign it to F3. That's what I meant. So that my favorite food now becomes idli. Okay, so let's run this now. Fine. So my favorite dish is idli. So did you notice what is happening here? It's no longer taking reference to what? This is a set, yes or no? From whatever we've studied, this is a set, okay? But it's no longer using the index notation now because this is with reference to function. Okay, guys? So that's why function behaves differently now. As a user-defined type, pay close attention to this. So this index now, we map exactly with the key. So if we say, okay, that's not what I meant, actually, I'll come to that when I use the index notation. This is fine. This doesn't have anything to do with indices. No doubt. This has nothing to do with indices, okay? I'll show you what I meant by that indices in the next example. Now, the next example is called what? Arbitrary what? Keyword arguments. Yes? Fine. Let's see that now. I think I did this, sorry. Arbitrary keyword arguments. Fine. Okay. Fine. Okay, I have swapped this guy anyway. So, yeah, okay, zoom this out a bit. 1 minute, guys. I want to shift this where it was before. Fine. And then push this to the other side. Okay. Fine. Okay. All right, so till this is fine, let's move to the next thing. The next says, I'm going to use what now? I'm going to use arbitrary keyword argument, this one, okay? And I'm going to call this guy. Fine. Control C. Now paste it here. I can actually create spaces so that we'll see one thing at a time, okay? One screen at a time. Go up. Fine. Paste it there. So arbitrary keyword arguments, okay? So you see here, when we don't know, right? So we have just seen it now, right? We don't know how many keyword arguments that we pass into our function. Yes, so we use double asterisk. So my favorite dish is, now look here. Now I'm saying, okay, F1. Fine, F1 is masala puri, F2 is this, and this is that. Fine. So let's run this now and see. So it says my favorite dish is masala puri. Okay, fine. Now this is done. And I think on this note, we will start with something else. Okay, so we will look into what we mean by default parameter. Say example, please listen. You remember your switch cases, yes? We also did that in Python. Though Python doesn't support it, we use various ways to actually prototype switch cases in Python. Yes or no? So in that case now, we actually say, in case if any of these, if any of them fails, we have to use the default one. Very simple. I want to say I am from Nigeria. Okay? Nigeria. Now, I have to call this by passing arguments. So if I don't pass arguments, it's going to take the default one. So let's show an example now. Fine. So I'm going to show this now. You know the use of default keyword, right? If all the other conditions fails, I have to use only the default value. Okay? So take this. Now I'll paste it here so that you understand what I'm trying to explain. All right. So here I am from, what is the default value? Nigeria. So this will try to avoid that error. Okay, let's run this first. Okay, and let's see, let me explain this and we get back to this. So look here, guys, look here. This does not require any arguments, yes or no? But if I run this now, I am from, I'm taking one country. This will run, this will run, this will throw an error. Because it says it requires one argument is found none. That means if I want to say this, actually, we have seen that initially. I have to put this as a parameter. Yes or no? Let's continue. There's not much time. So undo this. So in case if I call this, let me comment this out first. Let me comment it out for now. And run this. So you say I am from Jamaica, I'm from India, I'm from South Africa. Now, let's print this quickly. So it says I am from Jamaica, I am from India, I am from South Africa. No doubt, yes or no? Now, let me call this now without any argument. It will say, it will take the default one. I'll say my underscore country, C-O-U-N-T-R-Y. Okay, so my underscore country. Now, if I call this now F5, it says that I am from Nigeria. And the beauty part of function is you can call it irrespective of how you define it. Example, see, Nigeria was there by default, right? But I'm calling it at the last, so it doesn't matter. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So that's why we need default what? Argument. Fine. So what else do we have? So the next thing, you can actually, the question is, what can you pass into a function? What can you not pass into a function? What can you not pass into a function? Literally, we can pass anything. We can pass either of the sequences. You can pass a list. This is a list. You can pass a tuple. You can pass A dictionary, you can pass anything. Okay, so literally you can pass anything into a list. Okay, sorry, into a function, guys. So this is going to say, and remember now, since we passed a list, right, you have to print it. Go through this, iterate through all the elements or the items in this list, and then print them. So I'm going to print all the items that are in list called fruits. Fine. So when I run this, I'm going to get apples, banana, and mangoes. Fine. Now I will run this now, and you see here apples, bananas, and mangoes. Fine. Done. All right. So with this now, we now say, okay, fine. Can we try returning values actually? So let's try return values. Okay. So for this, I need to try something here. Because somebody said something actually, but I don't know. I think I read it differently. But so can we return values now? Okay. So let's try returning values. Can we return values? Fine. So let's define a function, maybe like say def. Okay, so this function will do some multiplication. We say multi. Okay, multiply. I'm pretty sure it's not a keyword, but let's see. So let's say it takes an argument x which you're going to multiply. Okay. Now we just say return. Okay, multiply by a multiplier. Say 10 into x or x into 10. No doubt, 10 into x. Fine. Now this is fine. So we have to call this multiply. Now, when we call this multiply, by default, I'm printing this. Pay attention. It says in an error, obviously. Okay, so I will maximize this and let's see. Okay, so it says missing positional arguments x in the call multiply. You got the point? Fine. So what we need to do, okay, we know for sure, obviously, we need to pass an argument into it. So I want to multiply 10 times 1, 10, 10 times 2, 10 times 3, Okay, fine. That's how we do in Nigeria if you don't know what you are saying, okay? So now, it's actually there. Please listen. It's actually there, but I did not print it. Please listen. Now, this is also another thing. Because we use return, please listen. In other cases, it gets printed, yes or no? But whenever we use return now, look here. I run this again. Close the shell for now. Run this again. So you see F5. Harry, it should be there. Okay, run. Sorry, I don't know what is happening. Where is my shell? My shell disappeared now. View shell. Yeah, okay. So see here, it keeps running, okay, because I closed the shell, that's why. Okay, I have run it a couple of times. So it's not there, okay. What you can do actually, you can actually call it here. If you want to see it printed in the console, multiply, okay, sorry, multiply, okay, and then we say by 10, okay, by 2, okay, 10 times 2, fine, enter. So we are going to get 20 printed here, okay. It's printing in the console. So what we do is we wrap it around print statement. So print. So we now say, okay, fine, 10 times 1, 10 is going to print, fine, and then we now run this again. Fine. Now you see 10 comes. And did you notice the difference? So this that was printed from the print statement was not bold actually. See, it's light. But the one that was printed when we called this function from the console was actually bold. Okay, fine. Now, I hope you got the concept, and then you can actually say 10 times 1, 10, 10 times 2, 10, 10 times 3, 10. Some students will say like that, just kidding. So 10 times that, 10 times that, 10, sorry, okay, you have to press enter, enter, enter there to break them apart. Now, okay, and then let's say till 5, okay, so till here, and Control V there, Control V there, Control V, done. All right, so maybe I'm saying 10 times 1, 10 times 11, 10 times 21, okay, 10 times this, 10 times this, 10 times this, no problem. So F5, so you see there, you see I try printing something which I don't know. All right, 1010, 1110, 11,110, 1 lakh, 11,110, 11 lakh, 11,110, something like that. Fine. All right. So there will be a T. Remember the use of pass keyword? Do you remember that, guys? So we saw that even while we are dealing with conditional statements. We don't know, right? So if we define a function without assigning values to them, okay, it's going to give an error. Say I call it my func, func, fine. I define this, and I'm thinking maybe I'm developing a game, okay? So I'm thinking what I will put here. Let's run this. So you see here, syntax error, expect x end of line while end of file while passing. See here, expected, unexpected end of file while passing. Okay, so you might actually print something here. Okay, Now, another way you can do is, see, what thing you can do is, you can actually keep this, okay, pass. Just skip this because I'm thinking of what to put there, okay? So I will get back to this later and then I will update that. So this is fine. Nothing gets printed because obviously I did not pass anything here. If you are curious, if you go and say my func, obviously nothing is there, right? func, nothing is there, okay? So, but this block will never get executed, never. So if you see here, okay, so let's try calling it here, my func. But what is inside? Nothing. So func, fine. All right. func. Okay, so this is a function. Okay, but what is actually happening is not actually seeing that. It has already skipped it here. Fine. So until we do that now. So yes, on this note, before I wind up, please listen, guys. I want to introduce the concept of lambda expressions. Okay, lambda expressions. So let's look into lambda, Python lambda expressions quickly. So what are lambda expressions, right? So what are, come here, okay, Lambda lambda functions. What are they? So basically, why do we need them? Why do we need them? Why do we need them? All right. So you might remember that this is actually similar to what we call what? Anonymous function. That means for function without a name. You have seen all the other functions, they has name, right? So lambda functions are what? Anonymous, without name, nameless, without a name, anonymous function. So if they don't have name, okay, so why do we need them then? You see, so let's say we want to execute something inline, okay, and return the value there. We can actually use this anonymous function. So the syntax is a little funny. Syntax is like this. It says, you kind of use the keyword lambda, okay, and you say some arguments, fine, and then which evaluates to some expression. Is this looking like ternary operator? Similar to ternary operator, right? You use multiple if statements on one go. Okay, no problem, guys. Let's just see an example. Okay, remember the keyword here is lambda must be there. So let's take an example. For example, let's say we want to add 20 to a what? An argument. Add what? 20, value 20 to an argument. You remember what arguments can be, right? Simple letter, anything can be like that. Okay, so fine, let's go and do this now. So we want to return this to something we call sum. We cannot call it sum now because sum is a keyword, so we call it results, right? So we now use the keyword now, lambda, Lambda. What's the name of this function? Anonymous. It's called lambda only. Okay, the name is called lambda. It is anonymous. Fine. But we are going to add something to another. So we say add, let's say we have a variable, which an argument A, fine. We're going to add 10 to that, okay? Add 10 to this. So this says add 10 to A and return it back to what? Result, okay? Now, when we create this now, what we're going to do, we now say, okay, print what now? Rest, or in rest now we have to say, maybe like 20. Okay, sorry, I'm adding 20, right? I said 10. To add 20 to this, say I will not say now say 10 plus 20. This will result in what? Result or output is what? So what it will do, it will say, okay, 20 plus 10, or 10 plus 20, which is the value of A. 10 plus 20, it will be what now? 30. Fine. So let's do this now, and then we think if we can wind up, okay? Or we can actually look at some stuff. So let me do both together. So this we have, and let's say we want to kind of look here, add multiple arguments. So how about multiple arguments? See, this we added only one argument. So next thing is, how about multiple arguments? Multiple arguments. All attendants, voila, they are just joining. So smart you guys are. So how about multiple arguments? The same thing we can actually do. So in the same thing we say, okay, res is equal to lambda, same thing, Lambda. Now, let's say I want to take two of them and add them, right, to arguments. So I'll say they are called A, B, okay, colon. Now, what I want to do, I will say, okay, fine, A plus B. Okay. Now, in this case now, I'm adding these two and then returning the result in what? Result. So I'll print print, print what now? I will now say rest of what? Maybe like I'll say 10, 20. Okay. So it should again give me what? 30. But you see, the output is same, but this was done using what? 2 arguments, whereas the other one was using only what? 1 argument. Okay. Fine. So let's see that quickly. All right. So we get back here and then you see. Okay, the other one is this. Fine. All right, so first one is using this. Okay, so I'm going to remove this now. Fine. And we are did here. Done. Now we will say, okay, fine. Use this expression. Fine. And then I called it as expression on the use of lambda expressions. Fine. And then we print this. So this is going to return 25 to the console. No doubt. So 25 by 10. Fine. This is done. Let's look at the next one where we use what? Multiple what? Parameters. So comment this out. Next. Now we are going to use 2 arguments now. Fine. All right. Take this. Now paste it here. Okay. So this we actually performing multiplication. Guys, don't get confused. Let's perform addition for now. So you told addition, you are doing multiplication. Fine. F5. So this gives us 9. Okay. So let's perform multiplication. This gives us 20. Let's perform division. This gives us 0.8, I think. Okay, F5, 0.8. Let's do floor division. It should give us 0. This is 0. Okay. Let's do modulus. So literally, you can do any operation here. Modulus should give us 0 also. Oh, 4. Sorry. Yes, 4. Because it is 4 mod 5. So you can actually do 5 mod 4. 5 mod 4. Okay. So press F5. So we get 1. Done. No problem. So here with this now we go to the last one for the day. So the last one is using lambda actually you can actually double a number. And I'm going to ask you one thing now before you fill your attendance. So now look here. So this we can actually use it now to double a number, right? Excuse me. So here, no doubt, right? This is a raised to power what? N. Yes? So what is the value of a? 2. What's the value of n? Sorry, a is 11. Value of n. A is 11. Value of n is 2. So this is going to give us 2 into 11. Fine. So we're going to see what now? 22. Now let's run this actually. Now we see here 22. Now my question is, what if we want to triple this using anonymous function? Is anybody listening? Using anonymous function or lambda expression, what if we want to triple this? What should we do? Should we say a star star? Okay, by the way, if we say a star star n, what do you think this will give us? If we say a star star n, what do you think this will give us? Any guess? 2 raised to power 11 or 11 raised to power 2? 2 raised to power 10 is 1024. 2 raised to power 11 is 2048. Okay, so 11 raised to power 2 is 121. So my question is, will this give us 2 raised to power 11 or 11 raised to power 2? Nobody is listening. I said the value of a is what? 11. The value of n is 2. So if you swap it, if you think you want to do 2 raised to power 11, then only you are going to get 2048. But we are doing 11 raised to power 2. Thank you, Diksha. That's true. A of power n, absolutely brilliant. But my only question was, what is the value of a and what is the value of n? So value of a is what? 11. Value of n is 2. Done. So this is what we have. That's why we got what? 1 to 1. Now listen. If I want this now to what? Triple it. It's not cube it. It's not to power 3. Okay. I want to say triple this. You remember this gave us 22. What should I do? And then we wind up. A power n. Yes, absolutely, Sashi. No doubt. But what I want to do is, I don't want 22. I want 33. I want 33 here. What should I do? So I will go back here and I change this to 3. Yes or no? Fine. So when I run this now, yes, okay, that comes. Okay, fine. So yes, so this is 33. So yes, I think on this note we can actually stop and we can actually call this using various values. Say example, we've done this, right? So we can now say, okay, fine. If I want now, this was actually doubling. So I will leave this as doubling only. Okay, this doubles, and in the same way, I'll say something that triples it. I'll say TRIPPLE. Okay, TRIPPLE, I believe that's the thing. So I'm going to say my func underscore FUNC. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say, okay, fine, triple it. Okay, so this is done, and then I'll say make it to power 4. Okay, so I save my fourth power, same thing, my fourth power. Okay, thank you, Zuha, thank you. Sorry, Sayed. So I say my fourth power, FOURTH. So fill the attendance, guys. And thank you guys for cheating me and only joining for attendance. Not everybody. Those that joined, let your conscience judge you. So mine underscore, so FUNC. Okay, so now this is to fourth power. Okay, now you can actually make to fifth power to nth power. Okay, so this is to fourth, let's say to fifth power, anything. Now if it is to fifth power, now let's go back here now, and when I call this, so I need to call each of them, right? So I have called this now with what? This, okay? So if I call this first one, now let's use this and compute all the 3 cases. Okay, yes, thank you, Amit. So now look here. So look here, it says executing your code. Where did you forget to import? Okay, FUNC stands for 1 minute. I think I made a mistake here. Okay, yes, please, sorry. Yes, please, sorry. Obviously, I have to call it with different ones, right? First double is done. So I have to call this with triple and then with that. You got the point, guys? So this has called that. Then obviously I have to say the third one, I will say print. So this was the mistake, print. So I'm going to say my underscore triple TRIPPLE. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to use, let's use the same value, 11 also. Okay. So it's going to do 11 like that into like that. Okay, fine. And then I'm going to go say and say print then my fourth. Okay. My underscore fourth, FOURTH. Fine, the same value. Okay, so I think, yeah, this might be a very big value, but let's see. I believe it should work now. All right, my func is not defined. Okay, yes, please listen. Exactly. Did you notice what is happening, guys? It is n. Yes, that is fine. Yeah, I called it with this. Okay, yes, okay, exactly. My underscore, please look here, it was my mistake, right? Thank you. Try after class. Okay, fine, sorry, I was getting confused. So guys, did you remember this, guys? So I actually was making that mistake. Now it will come. Okay, now it will come. So it's there. Okay, so you can now see this. Okay, this is triple it, multiply it by 4. Okay, so though I said this is multiplied by 5. See, I said by 4, but I'm multiplying by 5. You got the point, guys? 11 2s are 22, 11 3s are 33, 11 5s are 55. Forget the fourth power. Okay, so let me change it back to 4. I will now call it to come 44. 22, 33, 44. Got it? Fine. Okay, so yes, I don't want to keep you so much too long because you have actually been consistently attending the class. So we wind up now, and then I'm looking at the screen, guys. Do you have any doubts?